Have you ever looked around and wondered why some people just seem to find amazing opportunities everywhere they look, while the rest of us just see, well, problems? It's not about luck, and it's definitely not about having a ton of money. It's about a specific way of thinking. So, in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the core ideas from the book Entrepreneurial Thinking to give you a brand new lens for seeing the world, one that helps you find all those opportunities hidden in plain sight.
And that's really the heart of it all. This isn't some secret club you have to be born into. The book makes it super clear. This is a mindset that anyone can learn. It's a framework that lets you shift from just being a passive observer of the world to becoming an active creator of solutions within it. So we're going to walk this path together in 5 key stages. First up, we'll tackle that all-important mindset shift. Then, we'll get practical and learn how to actually spot the opportunities that others miss. From there, we'll talk about turning those ideas into something real, how to handle the inevitable bumps along the way, and finally, how to make this way of thinking a lifelong habit.
Okay, let's jump right into part 1. Because before you ever launch a business or build a product, the real work, the foundational work, happens right up here, in your head. Entrepreneurship isn't just a job title, it's a mental framework.
This comparison really gets to the core of the book's message. You know, the ordinary mind, it's often driven by comfort. It tends to operate inside the existing lines and just accepts things the way they are. But the entrepreneurial mind, it's wired differently. It's value-driven. It's constantly pushing on those boundaries, always asking, what if? What if there's a better way? It sees potential where everyone else just sees the status quo. So how do you actually build this mindset? Well, it stands on 3 crucial pillars. First, there's curiosity. The book calls this the oxygen of entrepreneurship, which I love. It's that constant desire to ask why. Next, you need resilience. That's the grit to see failure as just feedback, not the end of the road. And finally, confidence, which is really the courage to trust your own unique vision and actually act on it. Put those 3 together and you have a solid foundation for building what other people can't even see yet.
All right, let's move into part 2 and see how this mindset starts to pay off. Once you've got the framework in place, you can start applying it. This is where we learn to see the opportunities that are literally hiding in plain sight, the ones most people walk right past every single day.
The book asks this really powerful question, and I want you to think about this for a second. What are those little frustrations, those daily hassles, those inefficient processes that people just put up with? You know, the ones they accept because, well, that's just how it's always been done. Those silent problems, that's where the gold is. And here's the secret to finding them. You have to become a detective of daily life. Start paying attention, really paying attention, to what people complain about. Listen for it in cafes, scroll through it on social media, hear it from your friends. Every single one of those complaints is a clue to a potential business idea. Every little inconvenience is a giant flashing sign that says, hey, this could be better. And this isn't just about luck, it's a system you can use over and over. It starts when you observe some kind of friction. Then you question why it has to be that way. That leads you to identify the core problem you can actually solve. From there, you test a small solution, get feedback, and then you just keep improving it. See? It's a cycle that turns just looking around into real, powerful action.
Okay, so you've spotted a problem. You have an idea. Awesome. Now for part 3. How do you give that spark of inspiration some structure so it can actually survive and maybe even thrive out in the real world? Now, don't get spooked by the term business model. The source explains it perfectly. Just think of it as the engine that makes your idea go. It's the simple, logical plan that answers 2 really basic questions. 1, how are you going to create real value for people? And 2, how is that value going to loop back to keep the whole thing running? And that engine? It's built from 5 core parts. First, you need a clear value proposition. What makes you different? Then, you have to know exactly who you're helping. That's your target audience. Next, figure out how you'll reach them, your delivery channel. And then you get to the nuts and bolts, your revenue stream, how you'll make money, and your cost structure, what it will cost to run. Answering these questions turns a fuzzy idea into a solid plan.
And now for the reality check. Welcome to part 4. Because bringing any idea to life is a journey, and that journey is packed with challenges. The 2 biggest hurdles you'll face are managing risk and truly, deeply understanding the people you're trying to help.
So let's talk about risk. The most important thing you can do is completely reframe how you think about failure. This quote from the book just nails it. Every failed experiment, every time you have to pivot, every single setback, it's not the end. It's just data. It's a lesson that gets you one step closer to what actually works.
Failure is the path forward, not a dead end.
Now, to build something people truly love, you have to understand their needs on 3 different levels. First, there's the obvious one, the functional need. What's the job they're trying to get done? But you have to dig deeper. What's the emotional need? How does this problem make them feel? And then even deeper, what's the social need? How do they want to be seen by others when they use your solution? The best products solve for all 3.
So how do you figure out those deeper needs? The answer is one word: empathy. The book calls it the hidden advantage, and honestly, it's more like a superpower. When you can genuinely feel your customers' frustration, you can design solutions that really connect with them. And that's how you turn a simple transaction into a loyal, long-term relationship. And that brings us to our final stop, part 5. This whole thing isn't about one big project. It's about weaving this way of thinking into the fabric of who you are, making it a daily, continuous practice of seeing the world with new eyes. And the book gives us this amazing practical blueprint based on its 30-day challenge. You can start this today. It's simple. Every day, just do this. Observe one struggle you notice in the world. Reflect on one lesson it teaches you. Brainstorm one new idea to solve it. And then, this is key, decide on one tiny, manageable step you could take. This little routine literally trains your brain to find opportunities everywhere. When it all comes down to it, this is the big idea of our whole explainer. The power to create, to innovate, to solve real problems, it isn't limited because there's a shortage of opportunities out there. It's limited by a shortage of perception. But the amazing news is, that's a skill. And it's a skill you can start training right now. So we'll leave you with this final thought. Entrepreneurial thinking isn't just for startups. It's a mindset that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary possibilities. It's a choice to become a creator in a world that desperately needs them. So the only question left is, what will you create?